From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old-mannered comic shop owner, Colin McMahon, transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us, true believers, for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for March 2022. Now just to warn you, both dogs are here today, so if you hear some strange noises, it's most likely them. But we're gearing up. The big publishers always like to do big summer events starting in May, so now we're getting all the gear up towards that, the little preludes and wrapping up the other storylines. So this is a fun time of year. Also, a lot of the other publishers are coming out with some really neat books, so I'm really excited about what's coming out. We've started up book club again. We just had the one for February, and we did Saga for that, and had a great turnout. So the new one we're doing is Not All Robots. This is from a newer company called AWA, which is Artists, Writers, and Artisans, created by Bill Jemas, who used to run Marvel back in the 2000s, the early 2000s. So it's been really, really good. The people have really been enjoying the books, and pretty much all the books that they've been putting out. So this new one is by Mark Russell, with art by Mike Deodato and Lee Luffridge. And I love Mark Russell. This is actually our third book we're doing of his for book club. So that's going to be coming up on March 25th. And because we're doing AWA, we're going to do AWA promotion all month long. We're going to do double points on all their graphic novels. They have all sorts of stuff from mystery to horror to science fiction, so all sorts of neat stuff. So come in and ask about their stuff, and we'll be happy to show you. Other than that, we're starting to gear up, getting things ready for Free Comic Book Day, which is coming up on May 7th. So it's always a long process getting ready for that. So we're making room, we're counting stuff, all sorts of stuff going on here. But you're watching because you want to know what's coming out in March, and I'm here to tell you, Marvel is doing a real big reboot of their X-Men franchise again, all new issues, so let's start there. First off, we have Immortal X-Men. This is a new one from Kieran Gillen and Lucas Wernick. The Quiet Council rules the Krakoan Age, for better or worse. Now shaken by Inferno and X-Lives, X-Deaths of Wolverine, they strive to hold together, no matter how much they want to tear each other apart. Prepare for sinister secrets to be revealed, and learn that some secrets are more sinister than others. We're also getting X-Men Unlimited Latitude. This is one of the digital books that they did, but it's by Jonathan Hickman and Declan Shalvey. So two big creators, and they're printing it now, finally. When AIM manages a covert infiltration of the Sword Station and kidnaps the mutants, it's up to Wolverine to take one giant leap for mankind and get them back. From the vacuum of space to the dripping guts of an evil supercomputer, Logan will stop at nothing to save his friends. We're also getting a revamp of Marauders with a new #1 and a new creative team. Steve Orlando's now writing the book. New team, new villains, new mysteries. Captain Pride and the Marauders are rededicating themselves to rescuing mutants wherever they may be, and no matter how dangerous the odds against them are. But Captain Pride's crew is not yet complete. Against her better judgment, Pride comes face to face with the final Marauder, Cassandra Nova. One of the most infamous villains in the mutant history, might be the Marauders' only chance to unravel a mystery stretching 2 billion years into the past. We also have Demon Days Blood Feud #1. This is the end of Peach Momoko's Demon Days run. At the end of the road, Mariko Yashida finally meets the one who's been hunting her, a silver-clad swordsman named Ojin, who's also Mariko's sister. Will Mariko have to cross blades with her own flesh and blood, or will her own flesh and blood take her down? Wolverine Patch. This is a 5-issue miniseries, which is kind of neat. It's written by Larry Hama, and it's set before the original Wolverine series started in the late 80s. Return to Madripoor with the man called Patch. All new action, intrigue, and espionage awaits you as legendary creator Larry Hama returns with a story set before his original run. The man known as Logan has made a name for himself on the mysterious island of Madripoor, where the locals know him as Patch. From their haunt at the Princess Bar, which starts as a simple recon mission, lands Patch and Archie knee-deep in a paramilitary struggle that will surface some surprise revelations and characters. And is that Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D.? 2 patches for the price of 1. Also getting Captain Carter. This is spinning out of the What If TV show. And this is by Jamie McKelvey. A reality where Agent Peggy Carter took the super soldier serum and is turned upside down when World War II hero is pulled from the ice where she was lost in action decades before. Peggy struggles to find her footing when in a modern world that's gotten a lot more complicated. Cities are louder, technology is smarter, and enemies wear friendly faces. Everyone with an agenda wants Captain Carter on their side, but what does Peggy want? And will she have time to figure it out when mysterious forces are already gunning for her? We also have a new Carnage series by Ram V, who's been co-writing the Venom series. Ram V has carved a perfect home for himself in the symbiote corner of the Marvel Universe. And in this all-new ongoing series starring Venom's most notorious offspring, that corner is about to get a little bit bigger and bloodier. We also have Venom Lethal Protector. This is by David Michelini. Before Carnage and Space Gods, Clones and Toxins, the revelation that he is a father, Eddie Brock was a down-on-his-luck reporter who had tried to take his own life and been saved by an alien symbiote. This all-new story, set in the character's earliest days, welcomes Venom co-creator back into the symbiote hive with open arms to tell a new, horrifying tale that not only revises the wicked web-slinger's past, but hints at what's to come in his future. Also have Strange #1 by Jed MacKay and Marcelo Fiera. This is a new Sorcerer Supreme arises. After the death of Doctor Strange, a new Sorcerer Supreme has taken the title, or should we say Sorceress. Haunted by her recently returned memories, Clea longs to bring Stephen Strange back from the dead. But now a mysterious group attacks the magical realm. Clea must rise to the duties of Sorcerer Supreme, for she is now the sole protector of the Earth against magical threats. We also have a brand new Punisher #1 by Jason Aaron. Born of tragedy, devoted to war, unstoppable in his rage. As Punisher, Frank Castle has become the most accomplished killer the world has ever seen. Now it's time for him to face his true destiny. What shocking secrets from Frank's past will convince him to take the reins of the Marvel Universe's most notorious clan of assassins? And once Frank becomes the warlord of the deadly ninjas of the Hand, will it also mean an end for the Punisher, or a whole new bloody beginning? We're also starting a new What If series, What If Miles Morales, where it's going to be a bunch of issues focusing on Miles Morales and different changes to him. What if Miles Morales had never been bitten by a genetically enhanced spider and became Spider-Man? What if instead the US government recruited, trained, and granted him incredible powers with the super soldier serum? What makes Miles a hero no matter what the circumstances, no matter the reality? And are there other superheroes the many Miles of the multiverse might have become instead of Spidey? We're also getting a facsimile edition of Spider-Man 238, which is the first appearance of the Hobgoblin. Sadly, I don't think this is going to come with the tattoos, which made that so cool back in the day. Devil's Reign is wrapping up with issues 5 and 6, but we're still getting, finishing up all the miniseries, and we're getting a new one-shot, Devil's Reign Moon Knight. After being arrested by the Thunderbolts as part of Wilson Fisk's crackdown on costume heroes, Moon Knight is now a prisoner in the high-tech Myrmidian. Surrounded by hostile guards and many of the same criminals he helped put away, Mark Spector must fight for his survival. But Moon Knight's quest for justice doesn't end just because of a little light incarceration. Also getting an X-Force annual. X-Force operates on the fringes of Krakoan society, undertaking the covert ops and dirty jobs the X-Men can't handle. So who better a target for enemies of mutant kind? Orcus makes their deadly move as Wolverine, Domino, and Kid Omega are lured into a death trap designed to alter the mutants' destiny. The next wave of X-Force Avengers begins and possibly ends here. Reckoning War continues in Fantastic Four in issues 41 and 42, and we also get Trial of the Watcher. In all of the multiverse, there's only one what-if world that Uatu has avoided watching, one what-if that he never wished to see. And now it will be revealed, the story that could damn him for all time, and a revelation that could change everything in this universe. Hulk Grand Design, this is neat. We've had X-Men Grand Design by local artist Ed Piskor. We've had Fantastic Four Grand Design by local artist Tom Scioli, and now we're getting Hulk Grand Design by Jim Rugg, another local artist. Jim Rugg follows the tradition of Grand Design by unfurling the full saga of the Incredible Hulk from the very beginning to the present. Witness the biggest moments in Hulk's history through the eyes of a single visionary storyteller. We're also doing a Women of Marvel special. The talented women creators who have made Marvel the powerhouse that it is take on fan favorite Marvel characters within the Marvel Universe. Also getting a new Star Wars series, Han Solo and Chewbacca. But wait, isn't Han still frozen in carbonite in the Marvel Star Wars books? Yes, but you can't keep a good smuggler down. Set years before A New Hope, Han is a partner, and his partner Chewbacca and Greedo embark on a heist for Jabba the Hutt. It's supposed to be an easy job. What could possibly go wrong? So that wraps up Marvel. Now we're going to get into DC and a lot of their neat new stuff. Starting off, we have Batman Killing Time. This is by Tom King and David Marquez, Tom King's return to Batman. 3 villains, 1 Dark Knight, and a deadly heist gone wrong. Catwoman, the Riddler, and the Penguin join forces to pull off the greatest robbery in the history of Gotham City. And their prize? A mysterious, priceless artifact in the secret possession of Bruce Wayne. But as the events unfold, what fun is a heist without a bloody double-cross or two? Also getting a start of a new series, Batman Superman World's Finest. The neat thing, this is the return of Mark Waid to DC, where he wrote for years doing The Flash and many other books, and this is his return after a really long time. The Dark Knight, the Man of Steel, they are the 2 finest superheroes that the world has ever known, and they're together again in an epic new series from legendary talents of Mark Waid and Dan Mora. In the not-too-distant past, Superman's powers are supercharged from a devastating chemical attack by the villainous Metallo, and the only ally that the ultra-powerful Man of Tomorrow can turn to in this turbulent hour is Gotham's own dark vengeance, the Batman. A nearly fatal burst of power drives Bruce Wayne to his own extreme measures to help his friend, enlisting none other than the Doom Patrol for aid. We also have a return to the White Knight storyline by Sean Gordon Murphy. We have Batman Beyond the White Knight. A lot can change in 10 years, especially in Gotham. Batman, aka Bruce Wayne, may be behind bars, but the real criminals are still out there. Gotham Motors CEO Derek Powers has seized control of the Wayne family's assets and is using them to transform the GTO in the city they've sworn to protect. Crime is down, but at what cost? A new Batman has emerged in Powers City, and only Bruce is fully aware of the dangers to come. It's time to destroy the mantle for good, but he'll need one of his forgotten sons to help him do so. Enter Jason Todd, the first Robin. We also have Batman FaZe Clan, which is apparently an online video game, and we're getting back into that like they did Fortnite before. Now we're doing FaZe Clan. We also have Shadow War Alpha from Josh Williamson and Victor Bogdanovich. When Deathstroke assassinates Ra's al Ghul, Talia al Ghul demands revenge and sends her League of Shadows to kill Deathstroke Inc. Batman and Robin must team up to track down Deathstroke and bring him to justice. But do they? Also getting Naomi Season 2. She's got a series on the WB, so we're returning her to a series. We also have Trial of the Amazons, connecting all of the Amazonian and Wonder Woman books. After the events of Nubia and the Amazons, the dangers of Doom's Doorway have found their way to man's world and garnered the attention of not one but all 3 Amazonian tribes. The Bana Migdal consider it to be a weakness in the current regime and have decided to return to the shores of Themyscira to stake their claim over the island. Little do they know, the Esqueza are not far behind. But instead of looking for help to combat the evil unleashed, tempers rise and swords are brandished as the women argue about the past course of action. Now Queen Nubia must show all the way to peace by calling for one of the most famous Amazon traditions, the contest. Who among them is worthy of leading them into the future? We also have a sensational Wonder Woman special. Wonder Woman stars in 3 sensational stories that will push her to the limits. Will the Amazon princess come out on top after battling the lights of Circe, Blue Snowman, and the Thren of Doom? Join us for a celebration of all things Wonder Woman for International Women's Day. Then we have The War for Earth 3. This is tying in 3 books, Suicide Squad, Teen Titans, and Flash. There we go. Teen Titans, Flash, and Suicide Squad all collide on Earth 3, home of the evil crime syndicate on the hunt for former Task Force X mastermind Amanda Waller. As Waller tries to take over the alternate Earth and dethrone the evil versions of Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, the other heroes that rule it, her former partner, Rick Flag, arrives on Earth 3 bent on making Waller pay for her crimes, while the Titans and Flash hunt for a missing Academy student they believe was kidnapped by Waller to form her own mysterious Justice Squad. Then we're getting one of the Black Label big prestige books is Rogues #1 by Josh Williamson. 10 years ago, the Rogues disbanded and went their separate ways, but time hasn't been kind to the former blue-collar supercriminals. Caught in an endless cycle of prison, rehab, dead-end jobs, broken relationships, probation, and endless restitution fees, the Rogues are sick of paying for their crimes. Luckily, Captain Cold has a plan, one last job, that will leave them all richer than their wildest dreams and free from their past, if they can survive. This is the Rogues as you've never seen them before. So now we get into the other guys. Image this month has a bunch of neat books. We're getting Astro City, That Was Then Special. Kurt Busiek and Brent Anderson are bringing back Astro City, a book that long ago was at Image, then at DC, and is now back at Image. Astro City returns with an all-new special. Who were the Jayhawks? How did they inspire 5 teen sidekicks looking for answers to hit the road in a rickety crime mobile in 1969? And how will this affect Astro City in the present? This one-shot special features new and existing heroes and launches a mystery that will drive the forthcoming Astro City series. Also getting Little Monsters. This is by Jeff Lemire and Destin Nguyen. They are the last children on Earth, who also happen to be vampires. For longer than they can remember, these child vampires have lived a life of eternal wonder amongst the ruins of humanity. But shocking events fracture the group and set them on a path of discovery that will shatter their innocence forever. Ghost Cage. This is by Nick Dragotta, following up his run on East of West. When a megacorp power plant falls under attack by terrorists, the super scientist who revolutionized and controls all energy on Earth sends his ultimate creation and an adequate employee to destroy his most monstrous secrets. We're also getting Radiant Red, which is continuing the expansion of the Radiant Black little family. To her students, Satomi Son is a diligent middle school teacher. To her fiancé and parents, she's the rock of the family. To the world, she's Radiant Red, a criminal turned matter-absorbing superhero. But with a mysterious stranger in her classroom, a noisy reporter on her doorstep, and 2.5 million hidden in the air vents of her house, she's going to have to decide who she is, and quickly, before the world chooses for her. Slumber is a new one. Stetson is a nightmare hunter, a dream detective. She runs a shoddy back alley business where she helps clients sleep at night by entering their dreams and killing their nightmares. But Stetson's past comes back to haunt her when she tracks down a literal living nightmare, a serial killer that murders people in their sleep. Loaded Bible is back. Premise of this was they cloned Jesus to fight vampires that had taken over the earth. And this is the second series, Blood of My Blood. Decades after the events of the original cult series, Jesus' vampire hunting clone is a bigger outlaw than ever, and now he has to face a threat like no other. The church has cut a deal with the vampire nations to unite under their clone savior, Dracula. Stillwater has a one-shot. This is by Chip Zdarsky. They say that no one ever dies in Stillwater and no one gets to leave. But even for those that have freed themselves of the town, is there truly any escaping Stillwater? Now on to Dark Horse. They have a big one coming out. It's a new one from Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. We're doing one at Dark Horse for the first time, called We Have Demons. Since the very dawn of man, legends have been told of the conflict between angel and demon kind. Lam Lure, a woman of science, dismissed these stories as just that, fiction. But when the loss of a loved one leads to the discovery of a hulking, benevolent demon named Helvis, Lam realizes that her life is about to undergo a dire new direction. With a newfound partner and awesome powers now at her disposal, our hero suddenly finds herself thrust into a climactic war of good and evil with no less than the fate of the world hanging in the balance. Stranger Things returns with a new series, Kamchatka. A Russian scientist is kidnapped by Soviet troops, leaving nothing for his 2 teenage children but a mysterious case and a whole lot of questions. While their father is dragooned into weaponizing a monster brought back from the U.S., the 2 teenagers embark on a harrowing and perilous journey to find him, with help from an unlikely ally, an old KGB spy. Count Crowley has returned with Amateur Midnight Monster Hunter. This is by David Dalmastian, who played Polka Dot Man in Suicide Squad. It's been a hell of a week for Jerry Bartman. She lost her job, crashed her car, took the only gig available hosting the Midnight Monster Show, and, oh yeah, dismembered a zombie. No big deal. Now, to protect the people she loves, she's going to have to take a crash course in monster hunting. And quickly, a vengeful vampire has just booked a first-class flight into town. Radio Spaceman is a new one from Mike Mignola, which is kind of neat. He just kind of doodled this sketch of this robot spaceman and decided to write a story around it. When a ship crashes and lands in a mysterious planet and some of the surviving crew go missing, the mysterious mechanical hero Radio Spaceman is called to investigate. But the planet hides much more than a missing crew, and Radio Spaceman may be stumbling into more than even he can handle. Radio Spaceman is a steampunk space adventure full of mystery, monsters, and awesome gadgets. IDW has a new one. This is Cullen Bunn is doing this one. It's Godzilla versus the Power Rangers. Wait, that doesn't make any sense, but wait. When Rhea Repulsa uses an ancient artifact to transport herself to a universe without Power Rangers, she finds herself in a world with aliens, kaiju, and Godzilla. Hoping to annihilate this new foe, Rita hurls her own terrible creatures into battle, but she never expects that the Rangers have followed her to this alternate reality. Now the Dinozords themselves are going head-to-head with the King of Monsters. Also a couple new Star Trek books. Star Trek Discovery, Adventures in the 36th Century, travel to the future of Star Trek in this all-new miniseries spotlighting the cast of the hit television show. We're also getting Star Trek Mirror War Captain LaForge. Geordi LaForge is on a scouting mission for Picard when he suddenly finds himself ambushed and teleported into an agony booth. Who is this masked figure torturing LaForge, and what connection do they have to his past? Dynamite has a couple new ones. We have Dynamite Never Dies. This is the third series in the Dynamite line. Dynamite's cross-company zombie crossover returns with even more undead mayhem. Evil Sonia and the Draculonian sisters Vampirella and Panther may have turned back the plague on Earth, but what happens when zombies from Mars start to invade? Hear that cry in the jungle? That's right, Tarzan has joined the insanity, and the ape man has his hands full with zombie dinosaurs in Lost Valley. We also have a new Betty Page Alien Agenda. Poor Betty Page has barely finished up her latest adventure and gotten back to modeling when duty calls once more. Seems there's something funny going on in a place called Area 51, and it's up to Betty to investigate. There's a catch this time, though. The United States military might be putting Betty on the case, but they can't avow the existence of said case or Betty's involvement. Let's see, we got from Boom. They have a new Buffy the Vampire Slayer. They're starting a new Buffy series, so this is a 25th anniversary special, recapping their run on Buffy and kind of wrapping up the whole series. We're also getting a new Jim Henson storyteller. This one is involving stories of shapeshifters. Ablaze is back with another Sumerian one. This is a famous one, Hour of the Dragon, doing that Conan story. Aftershock is doing a neat one. It's the second series of We Live. It's called Age of Palladians. And it's neat, they're doing two number ones. There's a black number one and a white number one, each telling a different story, but kind of getting to the same point, because the story was too big to tell in just one issue. So that's going on with that. AWA, who we're spotlighting this month, has a new one called Hit Me. A high-octane crime thriller. Lulu has a very unique profession. She gets paid by the bruise. When she's witness to the execution of one of her regular clients, she escapes into the night with a briefcase filled with diamonds and a pack of killers on her trail. Navigating the dark underbelly of decaying early 90s Atlantic City, one step ahead of her pursuers. Lulu must call upon every one of her street-born instincts and underworld connections in what will be the longest and possibly last night of her life. Oni has an interesting one called Season of the Bruja. Athalia Cabrera might seem like any other witch, Portland hipster whiling away her days behind the counter of a friendly occult museum. But there's more to her whole deal than a trendy pursuit of the craft. Athalia is a Bruja by blood, the youngest in a long line of powerful magic users from a long ago culture indigenous to Mexico. In her 20 years, Athalia has studied with her loving abuela by her side, supporting and mentoring her use of the family magic and protecting her from the darkest parts of their practice's history. But just as Athalia's inner light and power begins to shine, the darkness of the past finds its way into her world and strikes a tragic blow, testing Athalia in ways she might not be prepared enough to survive. Valiant is back with a new one, Armorclads. In a distant solar system, advanced mechs known as Armorclads fight wars and build worlds. Genetically engineered workers on Zero use construction-class mechs to mine a valuable mineral called the Pure. When one of their own is killed and their world is thrown into chaos, the workers defy their oppressors and may discover a mystery dating back centuries that could change the world as long as they band together. And lastly, Vault, who is another company that I just adore, has a new one, West of Sundown, by Tim Seeley and Aaron Campbell. A beautiful vampire must flee monster slayers in New York City and reclaim the ancestral soil that restores her undead flesh. But the world has changed since she was reborn in the New Mexico desert, and now Constance Dare Abend and her loyal assistant Dooley must adapt to life in the rough frontier town of Sangre de Moro, where all sorts of monsters have settled. So that's a lot of the new number ones. I can't cover all of them here, and all the other books are still continuing on with lots of good stuff coming out right now. A lot of people are saying this is one of the best times in comics just because of the variety we have, which is true. So if you have any questions about anything, please stop by the store or give us a call. You can always check on our social media. Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics, Twitter is PGH Comics, and Instagram is PGH Comics. And thanks for watching, and stay tuned for Comic Previews Theater. See ya.
A few months ago, Earth's Sorcerer Supreme, Dr. Stephen Strange, was murdered. With his death, Earth's magic barrier fell, and Earth was soon invaded by kingdoms from different dimensions. One of these invaders was Clea, Strange's estranged wife, who was being chased by the Peregrine child and the three mothers. They were powerful predators hunting all magical beings to feed the child. In order to solve his murder and stop the invasion, a young Strange was summoned from the past and was able to resurrect his older self. But even with the threat defeated and Earth safe again, Stephen's resurrection was only temporary. But before joining the afterlife, he left his Eye of Agamotto and Cloak of Levitation to his true love, Clea, Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimensions. That morning, 177A Bleecker Street, Greenwich Village, New York, the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Bats, please! Sorry. Reminder, to self-create a haunted suit of armor to answer the door. By the hoary hosts of Hoggoth, I am literally opening the door. Victor Von Doom! Speaking of haunted suits of armor...
What?
You had best come inside then. I do have neighbors. Would you like coffee? The coffee of this dimension is tragic, but I'm certain you're used to it by now.
No.
Suit yourself. What do you want, Victor?
This is a courtesy visit. Obviously, with Strange dead, I will attain the title of Sorcerer Supreme. I've come for the Eye of Agamotto and the Cloak of Levitation.
Ah, no.
No.
No. The title of Sorcerer Supreme belonged to Stephen Strange, my husband, which makes it mine now.
That is not how it works. Strange cannot simply give the title to his woman.
And yet here I am.
You are mad.
Often angry. Certainly I've been widowed twice within the span of a week. I am of the Faltine, Victor. We don't have family names, and so it seemed appropriate for me to take that of my late husband's. There is still a Strange on Bleecker Street, and that Strange is still the Sorcerer Supreme.
This trickery will not stand.
Careful, Victor. Remember to whom you speak.
This is absurd. I will not be spoken to in such a...
And I will not be spoken to as such in my place of power.